I know I said that I will not do a reading on people under the age of 18. So on my YouTube channel, you won't find any readings on a child, except this is not on one single child. This is all of the children who have been affected by the ICE raids and who have lost their parents to this kind of racism and hatred from this administration. And I want to take a look at, this is just so heavy, the energy is really heavy. I want to take a look at how this trauma can continue to affect them in the future, but I also want to look at how we can help them to heal. It's just, this is not something to be taken lightly. I had watched a video, it was like a news, it was from the news somewhere in the US, and a little girl had come home from school to find that her parents were gone. Her parents had been arrested because, you know, ICE had raided it was a food manufacturing plant and decided to arrest a whole bunch of people on the suspicion of being illegal immigrants, when a lot of those people had either come to the US legally or were born there. Like, how unfair, how unfair, how disgusting, you know? And she was crying, and she's like, I don't know how old she was. She didn't look any older than 6 or 7, but crying because, like, I need my mom and I need my daddy. I don't know what to do without my daddy. And it was so sad. All right. So, children who have been separated from their parents, and a lot of them, I think, have been separated from siblings too. How does this trauma have an effect on them in the future? There might be generational effects of this kind of trauma. I do believe in inherited trauma and those kind of karmic things. Okay, I just have cards falling out, so I guess those are the ones that want to be read. All right, so we'll do the first 5 that had come out. We have this, like, something is coming that will arrive in the future. We have, okay, Page of Swords could have a lot of meanings, but what I'm getting from this is an angry child, an angry, like, young person. Embattlement, stress over the long term. This can be post-traumatic stress disorder as well, because for a lot of these people, being arrested and deported and put in the concentration camps, it was illegal. And a lot of this was based on deceit. I had even read somewhere that there was a factory that they were subject to, I think it was like a sexual harassment and a racial bullying lawsuit or something like that. And in return, all of a sudden, ICE comes in and raids the place and starts arresting people. Yeah, that's not a coincidence. It's not fucking legal either. A lot of these kids had to leave behind life as they knew it. Life as, well, they had formed a secure attachment to, it's being uprooted. And a lot of them, like I said, I had watched a video where a little girl had come home from school and her parents were gone because they had been arrested by ICE. And they interviewed her and she was a wreck. She couldn't have been older than 6 or 7 and she was just crying like, I don't know what to do without mommy and daddy. You know, like, what if I can't go to school anymore? What if I can't have food? What if I can't? Because her parents were gone. Okay? So in the future, a lot of these children are going to, and I don't want to say this to like manifest it, but this is what the cards are saying. There are going to be a lot of angry children, a lot of angry young people in the future. And I understand why. I don't blame them. They're going to have this bitterness and there's an overwhelming sense of disappointment that is like clouding this card right now. And I feel like disappointment is an understatement. There's just going to be a lot of angry young people coming in the future. A lot of stress. There is going to be some post-traumatic stress disorder as a result of this, of children watching their parents be arrested, children being separated from their families. And then I had 3 come out, and I'll show you what they are, and we can understand them together. I have the Lovers, Ace of Pentacles, and the Fool. Try to get them back in the right order. Okay. Lovers, Ace of Pentacles, the Fool. So like love or something, opportunity for something, and a new beginning. I feel like I'm gonna just pull some clarifiers. This is a woman. This is a specific woman. Often my Pelosi card, but not this time. I have a sneaky suspicion I know who this is. We'll get there though. Okay, Knight of Wands, new course of action. This has often been my long-term reliability card, but again, not this time. Spirit is telling me to focus on that pentacle in the guy's hand. There's a lot of money to be made. There's a woman who is making money off of this. My thoughts is that the woman is Betsy DeVos. The course of action, actually this makes a little bit of sense. Okay, partnership. There's a partnership. So she's partnered with somebody. They saw an opportunity to make some money off of this tragedy that anyways, and they decided to go for it. And I think I know what this is. Now it's sort of becoming clear. All right. A lot of children whose parents have been arrested or deported have been, I don't know what the right term for this, but okay, when you put a child up for adoption, I don't know if they like go to an agency, but they end up being dealt with by an agency, okay? There is an adoption agency that is linked to Betsy DeVos, and that's kind of been her course of action lately. And there's the money to be made. Sure, let's, she's over here all like, oh yeah, let's separate these children from their parents and then, adopt these poor children out to, different families, most likely white families, and then there's money to be made off of that. Ugh. This just hurts. This hurts to read on. It hurts. And I'm just reading on this and I'm not even feeling all of the energy from this. I have my spirit guides, my guardian angels are sitting around the table with me and they are holding the majority of this energy and I'm only feeling a fraction of it and my heart is broken. All right. I gotta keep going though. The bottom of the deck, families and family security, stress. There are obviously, the families that have been torn apart, there's stress. There's fear. It's just I'm just sick reading on this. Okay, so we looked at how children are going to be affected. What is something what is something to be learned from this man-made tragedy? At the very least, every situation there is something that can be learned. There's got to be some kind of valuable, I don't like calling it a lesson because it's not like oh, you did a bad thing and you learned your lesson. It's, what can we learn from this so that it never happens again? Getting a lot of major arcana. Holy crap. On the bottom, there's a truth that we're learning. Energetic shift. I feel like what's happening now with, with these suspected illegal immigrants being taken away and deported and arrested and families being broken up, I feel like it's being planned and it had been in the works for a while. From the beginning of this administration. Anyways, we need to make a choice. The choice is not to criminalize seeking asylum in a different, in your country. That is something that should always be legal. I don't think it's a crime to try and get your family to a safe place if where you're currently living is not safe. If there's stuff going on where you're currently living that causes you to fear for your family's life and well-being, and if there really are better opportunities in a different country, I think that you should have full rights to go there and make that healthy and safe life for yourself. I also have, I have a lot of major arcana. I have I have 3 major arcana. And fate. This is one of those things, I don't want to say that it was meant to happen, but it's one of those things that, since it already is going on, Spirit is using this to teach us some very valuable things about, well, basic things like respecting others, respecting life, respecting human life. I also had the Fool and the World. The world is watching this. The world is not gonna let this go. I mean, this kind of stuff, it does happen not just in the US, it does happen in other places, and it doesn't get as much attention, and it should. But I'm just saying, in this particular situation, so many people from all over are watching this, and they're not gonna let it go until something changes. Until, the government actually steps in and says, okay, we need to change the laws. We need to find some kind of, new beginning. We need to change these laws. We need to stop this from happening. Course of action. Now, I'm surprised that I'm not getting the Knight of Swords with this one, because the Knight of Swords reminds me of fighting with words, charging in, combat. But this reminds me of, I get a protest energy from this. If there are not already protests going on, people should be in the streets, and I mean, obviously there are all sorts of protests and stuff at the border. People are fighting there for the freedom of the human beings, the human lives that are trapped in cages. But this is also just reminding me that there are people who are standing up and are, not that Trump's administration is going to listen, but the chance that there's somebody who will listen and agree and be like, okay, this is not right. We need to change this. Yeah, this is the protesting energy. And when, we have this strong solidarity, and we are all saying this needs to stop, this needs to change, and we show that we do not support the deportation of innocent people. Now, do you remember that Lover's card when we were talking about there's an adoption agency that is linked to Betsy DeVos? And she, is partnered with, because it's not just her, there's other people that she's working together with. We can make that partnership unstable so that kids aren't being stolen from their parents and given to other families, because that's wrong too. Ooh. Now, how can we help these children, these parents, it affects all generations in these families, right? But how can we help them to heal? And one thing I just heard, I mean, this to me sounds very standard, but we pray for them, we think about them, we light a candle for them, send any energy we can out into the universe. There's hope that soon it will sort of come to a stop. Like the deportations and the raids and the arrests, that there will be some kind of wrench thrown into it so that they feel stuck. They can't continue doing that. Another one that had fallen out, we show them, okay, I just heard the words, we show them what an ideal America looks like, or what an ideal country looks like. And the ideal country is where you are accepted and you are welcomed and you are encouraged to come. You're encouraged to come build a life here. Or I guess there, because I'm not American, but anyways, where families can feel like if where they are is not safe, if where they are is not where they want to be, then like, hey, here's a good place for you to go. Here's an ideal place for you to set up a new life. Of course, we can't, I mean, like I said, we need to protest. We need to do everything we can to make it very clear to the government that what they are doing is wrong and that it needs to stop. And in a way, it's something that, okay, yeah, what Trump tries to do is divide the country so that, you know, it's this us versus them mentality, and, you know, we're the good guys, they're the bad guys. But for lots of people, these horrible situations is something that unites everyone. We all kind of stand together and go, this is wrong. We all stand together and do what we can to help these families, to help these children. There are people who go in large groups en masse to the border to donate supplies, to, you know, to protest, to provide encouragement to the people who are there that, you know, we're going to do everything we can to put a stop to this. Well, on the bottom of the deck, I have, in the future, the country will go back to a place of peace and of joy and of being that ideal place to set up a new life. But first, the ones who are contributing to this pain and this tragedy need to be judged. They need to see their consequences through. And there's going to be an end. There will be an end to this. There will be an end. All of this, it's going to come to a point, if it hasn't already done so, where all these deportations, these arrests, these inhumane acts, it's all going to just spill over, and something really big is going to happen as a result. But there's our victory. So eventually, things will be okay. But a lot of these children right now, they are hurting. All of these families are hurting. There could be generational effects of this trauma. And I think as a result, it's a result of what this administration is doing. And I think in the meantime, there are people who are able to go to the border, donate supplies, show their support and protest. And there are a lot of people who are able to pray and to think about, well, even just to think about sending healing to them. The universe understands your intentions. And in the meantime, I know it doesn't seem, when I just say it out loud, it doesn't seem like it'll be effective, but it's better than nothing. It's the least we can do, just to pray for their healing, to light a candle for them, to light some sage for them. If you practice Reiki, to send that distance healing out to them. Yeah. I'm really saddened by what's happening, and I can't wait until the raids stop. I cannot wait until families can get back together again.